Good evening, everyone. Tonight, we come together to honor and congratulate not only the academic achievements of our top 25 students, but also the profound impact of the teachers, staff, and coaches who've made a difference in their lives. This celebration is a testament to the power of mentoring and guidance forged between the two. The top 25 students of Springfield, I extend my heartfelt congratulations. Your dedication to excellence demonstrated through your academic achievements and leadership is truly commendable. Equally deserving is the recognition of the teachers, staff, and coaches who have played a pivotal role in shaping the lives and academic journey of our top 25 students. Tonight, we celebrate the educators who have gone above and beyond to empower their students to let them reach their fullest potential. Personally, I want to say to the teachers chosen by our top 25 students, I offer my sincere gratitude for your passion, your unwavering support, and dedication to working with our students and to leave a mark that you have made on their lives. To our top 25 students, I challenge you to continue honoring the legacy of excellence set forth by your chosen person. Let their guidance serve as a beacon of inspiration as you navigate the challenges and opportunities which lie ahead. And to the teachers, I urge you to continue making a difference in the lives of your students. Remember, your impact extends far beyond the walls of a classroom, of a school, or of a playing field. Once again, congratulations to our top 25 students and the teachers they have chosen. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Monachino. I want to welcome you all to the Top 25 Banquet and let you know that this is the 27th year that we have spent recognizing our top students and their influential educators. Students, it's an accomplishment to be recognized for your academic efforts and to have earned the privilege of honoring one of your most influential educators. Parents, I want to acknowledge all of your efforts in raising such wonderful sons and daughters. I know it takes love and understanding, discipline, patience, tears, and money, just to name a few. Educators, what a wonderful statement these students have made by selecting to honor you tonight. This is truly one of my favorite events of the year. I'm looking forward to hearing about how each educator made an impact on your life and about your plans for the future. Before we begin, I want to take a moment to thank those who helped make this evening possible. Superintendent Shelley Monachino, our Board of Education members who are here this evening, Mr. Dave Hofer, Mr. Donnie Furlong, and Mr. Parker Mason. I truly appreciate your support of this outstanding event. When Top 25 started 27 years ago, it was held in the old high school building. As the program grew stronger, we moved our celebration to the Hartville Kitchen. This year marks the second year in this building. Putting on this event doesn't happen without an incredible amount of dedication and hard work. Will you join me with a round of applause to recognize that hard work that Mrs. Hannah put in? When she's planning for the Top 25 event, we sometimes work together, and I can attest to her working tirelessly on this event, giving much of her personal time. Everything that you saw here this evening is a result of her hard work, dedication, and amazing organizational skills. I also want to thank my administrative staff for their help and support in making this evening possible. They'll all be at the podium at some point this evening. Mr. Tim Burns, Mr. Todd Lovell, Mrs. Danielle Starkey, and Mr. Kevin Vaughn. Thank you to Mr. Chenoweth and his crew for recording and broadcasting this event so that the community can celebrate with us as well. Thank you to our custodians and the kitchen staff for setting up and tearing down and serving this evening. Educators, thank you for your commitment to young people, for going beyond what's expected, and for building strong relationships with your students. You make a difference. Students, thank you for your efforts in the classroom. You are the reason why we come to work every day. Parents, well, I needed a little help with your thank yous. So here are your thank yous that are coming right from your students themselves. Top 25, I would like to thank my parents for pushing me to be my best, for supporting my Starbucks habit and sending me to see Taylor Swift in concert, for always being in the stands, for letting me ditch the Android life, for supporting my music dreams, for being supportive for everything I've done and loving me unconditionally, for making me eggs most mornings, for pushing me to do my best, for being supportive, for pushing me to take chances and be proud of myself, for encouraging me to be my best, for always supporting me and giving me your car for a year, for motivating me to thrive in life and go beyond what I thought I was capable of. I could never have made it to where I am today without you. For funding my emotional support of baking, for standing with me through all of life's challenges and always supporting my decisions, for pushing me to be the best that I can be, for believing in me every step of the way, for dragging me out of bed, for providing me with everything I need to succeed, for always supporting me and always starting my car in the morning. That's going above and beyond, isn't it? For pushing me to be the best I can be and inspiring me to try hard, and for raising me to be hardworking and always pushing me to do my best. Now that the welcomes and thank yous have been said, let me explain the logistics of how you will be recognized this evening. I will be calling up the assistant principals to start the presentation. They're going to read your bio. When your bio is being read, as the student, you should stop and see Mrs. Hannah. She's down here in the front. She's in the third row, and pick up your essay. You're going to come up these stairs and come to the podium when we're going to start with Mr. Vaughn. When Mr. Vaughn is done reading about Kendra Campbell, you're going to take the podium and you're going to read your essay. At that time, your influential educator will be coming up to join you at the podium. The influential educator, when you're done, they will have a few moments to speak as well about the relationship that they have with their student. And then the two of you will step to this table. This is where I will be. I will give you each your certificate. You'll go around and behind the curtain, and you'll come out the door of the hallway where the band room is. You're going to come back around like you're coming into the auditorium where you'll meet someone who's going to take your picture, because we will memorialize this event. And when we're all done, we'll take a couple more pictures of everybody together, like all the students, all the teachers, and then everyone together as well. So let's go ahead and get things started. Will you join me in welcoming Mr. Vaughn to the podium as he begins tonight's program by reading the biography of our first student.
Thank you, Mrs. Warner. And here we go. Our first student, Kendra Campbell. Kendra participated on the Springfield volleyball team for 3 years. She's a 2-year member of the National Honor Society and has participated in the College Credit Plus program for 2 years. Currently, she pursues her passion for healthcare by studying pharmacology in PLCC's medical technician program. Kendra is gaining experience as a pharmacy technician trainee at Acme Fresh Market. Kendra plans on continuing her education at Stark State, where she will study in the dental hygienist program. Kendra is recognizing her 8th grade science teacher, Mr. Kevin Handa.
When asked to choose my most influential educator, I immediately knew who I was picking, Mr. Hanna. Mr. Hanna has always been more than just any teacher to me. He's always been a constant pillar of support and has given me some of the best advice. Whether it was celebrating achievements or navigating through challenges, he was always there, offering his unwavering encouragement at every turn. His constant support has been such a great source of strength for me, pulling me through even the toughest times. What sets him apart from most is his genuine love for teaching. It's not just about educating for him, but it's also about building meaningful connections with every single student he has. In Mr. Hanna's classroom, I've learned not only academic lessons, but also valuable life lessons about resilience, compassion, as well as the importance of kindness and open-mindedness. I'll always cherish the memories I've had with such a confident, caring, courageous educator. From all the times he had a stash of York peppermint patties for me, the long rants about life, the fun labs he would do, and the times he would help me with my schoolwork. I could just go on and on about all the amazing memories I've had with him. As I prepare to bid farewell to the familiar halls, I'm filled with a sense of sadness, knowing that I won't be able to visit him regularly. While I look forward to the new adventures that await me, there's a part of me that will always long for the comfort and familiarity of Mr. Hanna's classroom. Yet even as I embark on this new chapter, I know that his teachings and influence will continue to guide me, shaping me in the person I aspire to be. So while I may be saying goodbye to these halls, I carry with me the lessons learned, the memories made, and the profound impact of Mr. Hanna's mentorship, forever grateful for the impact he has left on my heart.
All right, could you tell she was nervous? So we told her before she got up here, just imagine everybody in their underwear as you guys look around. So I first met Kendra in 7th grade back in 2018. She was very shy, didn't carry herself with much confidence. And for most of us teachers, those are usually the ones when they break out of their shells, they leave quite an impact. She became my classroom helper in 8th grade, and she learned a little bit about what it was to be a teacher. But some of the more fond memories we have is I would ask her to go down to the Red and Gray Cafe and grab me a Diet Dr. Pepper. And she'd go down there so often that they actually laminated and made a pass for us. So all she'd have to do, well, was that, and they knew exactly what the order was and who it was going to. So that was one of my fondest memories. The second memory that we have, same grade, I think 8th grade, she came up to me and said, Mr. Hanna, you got to be a farmer for Halloween. I'm like, well, why? Well, because I'm going to be a cow and you have to be the farmer. So I couldn't say no. So I ran up to Tractor Supply, got me a set of overalls, some bibs, got a John Deere t-shirt, grabbed a hat. On my way out, I swiped some hay so I could have it in my lip. That morning, I strapped on my work boots and I came to school as a farmer. And I'm not sure if she expected me to do that or not, but the look on her face was priceless. A few months later, in December, it was my birthday, and she showed up with a little something, and I still have it hanging in my room today. A couple different pictures, but right here in the bubbles it says, "Thanks for being weird with me." And that was pretty much the gist of our relationship. We were just kind of weird. We make each other laugh. I'd listen to her when she had some issues, and this year hasn't been any different. She stopped by my room Tuesdays and Thursdays with a couple of her friends. I'd make sure I've had plenty of food for them because they were always hungry. I'd listen to her have to complain about making adult decisions and then complain about making the adult decisions, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. Castor, Callie, Corbin, I hope you understand what about the unbelievable role model you have in front of you, your sister. I hope you realize that it's students like you that remind all of us why we do what we do. Congratulations, Mom, Dad, Grandma. You raised a wonderful young lady. To the parents and guardians here tonight, congratulations. Congratulations to my fellow educators, and most of all, congratulations to our top 25. Thank you.
Next, we have Marlo Capon. Marlo plays the flute and concert band and is a 5-year member of the marching band. This year, she has also played the piccolo and was selected to be the section leader of the flutes. Marlo was awarded an excellent rating of 1 for her solo she performed at the Ohio Music Association. Marlo is a member of National Honor Society and has taken multiple college credit plus classes. Marlo has also been accepted at the University of Akron in the polymer program. Marlo would like to someday work in a polymer lab. Marlo is recognizing her English teacher, Miss Elena Jackson.
I entered Miss Jackson's AP Lang Arts classroom under difficult circumstances, and at first I resented having to be in the class. I now realize that AP Lang was the best thing that could have happened to me. I have never had a teacher who truly cared about and tried to get to know me like Miss Jackson did. I've always been a very quiet student, but the environment that she created in her classroom and the way she taught the content we were to learn made me feel like I did not have to be so quiet. In this class, I felt comfortable speaking and sharing my opinions. I learned so much more through talking with Miss Jackson and my classmates than I ever did staying in my own bubble. I do remember when we did our first practice timed essay, I was convinced I would get a 5. I've always been a little overly prideful when it comes to language arts, as it was my best subject. Well, I got my essay back. A wonderfully disappointing 3 faced me. This began a hunger for me, one I hadn't felt since I was young. I wanted the highest grade on my essay possible. I always thought Miss Jackson graded me exceptionally hard, and I'm still convinced she did, and I am forever grateful for it. She helped me so much, but also let me fail and learn from my mistakes. This is how I ended up getting a perfect score of 6 multiple times in our class. I needed pushed, and she gave me that push. I will also say, while as my teacher, she made sure she was strict with my assignments and practice essays. She was very open and kind when it came to being a mentor for me in my life outside of school. Whether it was me ranting about a rude person at my work, or needing a classroom to sit in because I did not want to go home, or being the first adult I ever told I had my first girlfriend, she was there for me. I will forever be thankful for Miss Jackson for being an excellent teacher who re-sparked my love for learning and improving, and for being such a caring mentor in my life when I really needed it. Thank you, Miss Jackson.
I am not one for surprises. I don't like things being switched up on me, and I only like going with the flow if that flow has been carefully mapped out beforehand. This has gotten better over the years as a necessity of teaching, but also because I try to remind myself that sometimes the unplanned moments can lead to the best things. I call that the Marlo rule. You see, Marlo ended up in my class by complete accident. She needed a schedule change and ended up in my 6th period class on the 3rd day of school. Now, I remember panicking about getting her caught up over content missed over the summer, and would she enjoy the class, and was she expecting some AP dynamo rather than a first-year teacher who had been hired the week before? I shouldn't have worried. Marlo jumped in head first, and I can't imagine that class happening without her. She brought her positive energy, or as she calls it, her jazziness, to class every day. It became a core component of our class because it's a core component of Marlo. In the span of one class period, she would balance detailed analysis of an 18th century letter with profound advice on how to handle life struggles as well as giving you fun facts about wombats. They can run up to speeds of 25 miles per hour. And a definitive ranking of the latest Taylor Swift album, with notes. Simply put, Marlo brought all of herself every day. She brought her best and challenged me to bring mine. AP Lang was a new experience for both of us, and rather than expecting me to have all the answers at once, she gave me room to grow and learn alongside her and her classmates. I carry those lessons learned with me, and I'm undoubtedly a better educator because of it and because of Marlo. Marlo, I know that making top 25 is barely scratching the surface of what you will go on to achieve. I am so proud of you. I am so honored that you asked me to celebrate with you, and I'm so grateful that you needed a schedule change. Congratulations.
Alexis Davis. Lexi Davis has been a member of the marching band, bowling team, varsity cross country, and track team for 4 years. She is also a member of Senior Class Council and a 2-year member of National Honor Society. Lexi has been a College Credit Plus student for the past 2 years and took phlebotomy at PLCC this year. After graduation, Lexi plans on studying pre-vet medicine at Malone University and will pursue a veterinarian doctoral degree at The Ohio State University. Lexi is recognizing Mr. Matthew Graves.
So Mr. Graves was my AP US History teacher during my sophomore year. Now, to give some context, I'm not very good at history. I'm kind of awful at it, but somehow he still convinced me to take his class. When he started giving us those long essay questions, I honestly didn't think I was going to make it out, but as you can see, I survived, just barely. Despite all that he put us through, Mr. Graves made such a tremendous impact on my class that we would visit him every chance we got. He created such a comfortable environment where even a quiet girl like me was not afraid to talk in front of the class. Mr. Graves built such a good relationship with my friends and I that we found ourselves visiting him every chance we got. Even though APUSH was a lot of hard work, Mr. Graves never failed to let us know that he believed in us and that we were capable of accomplishing great things. Mr. Graves was always honest with us about our work, and he would even spend extra personal time with us so that he could figure out all the best ways for us to improve in his class. If some students were struggling, he always made sure to ask them for their feedback so that he could adjust the way he was teaching to fit our needs. He always pushed his students to improve in their abilities while also reaching out to make sure to congratulate them on their successes. Not only did he pay attention to how his students did in the classroom, but also how they were doing in sports, clubs, and anything else they were up to. He genuinely wanted the very best for his students. I found myself going home after school almost every day telling my family about how much I enjoyed being in his class and about all the great memories we made in his room. Still, to this day, I have so much respect for Mr. Graves, and I'm grateful I've had the opportunity to be one of his APUSH students.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your kind words and for being such an outstanding student. Lexi, when she got into the classroom, she was very shy compared to the rest of her classmates, and they would get angry with the essays we had to write, but not Lexi. She'd just smile and just keep working. So I appreciated that about her. Your hard work and your dedication do not go unnoticed. Lexi did a great job in APUSH. She passed, so she got college credit, so she really worked hard at it, and she should be very proud. Your smile and your positive attitude in the halls brighten everyone's day. I appreciate her coming visiting and let me know how she's doing all the time. So thank you for being a positive presence in our school and community. It means a lot. Patty and Shane, you did a job well done. She's an outstanding person and an excellent student. She'll make a great veterinarian someday, so I'll look forward to taking my pets there because I need a good vet now. So, and thank you for inspiring me to be a better teacher. She always asks for help, and she challenged me sometimes, and I appreciate that. So, and thank you to the class of 2024. I'm going to really miss you. I'll miss you too, for sure.
Mr. Connor Eckenrode, come on up. Connor Eckenrode has participated on both the golf and basketball teams. He's a 2-year letterman on the basketball team as well as a 4-year letterman on the golf team. Connor participates in the College Credit Plus program. After high school, Connor will attend the University of Mount Union, where he will major in biochemistry. Connor would like to continue his education in medical school and study ophthalmology. Connor is recognizing Mr. Tim Burns.
Mr. Burns was the first teacher I truly felt was my mentor, as if he'd taken me under his wing. My teacher in both 5th and 6th grade. Mr. Burns was a person who I could always rely on away from home, whether it was help with my assignments or one of my personal problems. He was always there to help me and make learning fun. My great friend Brady and I would always give him a hard time and make jokes with him in class. One day he walked into class with different glasses on. I asked him, "Mr. Burns, what happened to your glasses?" He had told Brady and I that he had broke them, so Brady asks, "What are those, your wife's glasses?" He told to heckle him, he looked at us and laughed, and he said, yeah, they are. We gave him a hard time the rest of the year because of that one time he wore his wife's glasses to school. The years he was my teacher, I've had more good times than I can count with Mr. Burns. Other than being my teacher, Mr. Burns was also my first golf coach. In 7th and 8th grade, we only lost 2 matches, mostly due to how good of a coach he was. He didn't just teach me golf fundamentals, though. He taught me how to better myself. He taught me that golf is a team sport and what it meant to achieve a shared goal. Possibly the most important lesson I have learned from Mr. Burns is to see things with a positive outlook and to never give up. When I was knocked down, he was always there to pick me up, and eventually, he taught me how to get back up on my own. Another lesson I learned from Mr. Burns is to embrace failure, to look it in the eye and learn from it. The knowledge he bestowed on me, I try to use on a daily basis. Not everything will always go as planned. You will fail time and time again. But when you have a mentor there to support you through your failures and help you learn from them, it makes those difficult times much, much easier. To me, that was Mr. Burns. I still see him occasionally in the hallways, and he never fails to make me smile or brighten my day. Mr. Burns, I would like to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a great teacher, a wonderful coach, and most importantly, a mentor. Thank you.
That glasses story is true. I did wear my wife's glasses. And we only lost 1 match. Remember, Kent cheated. Remember that, guys? Thanks, Connor. I'm truly honored and humbled to have been recognized as an influential educator from Connor. To receive this acknowledgement from Connor, whom I've had the privilege to teach, coach, is a testament to the impact educators can have on students. As Connor said, I taught him 5th and 6th, and then we started the golf program, 7th and 8th for middle school, which they now have 2 years in a row champions. Just want to point that out. From the first day of school, in 5th grade, I knew there was something special about Connor. It's his work ethic, his ability to adjust, his positive attitude beyond his age. There would be numerous times I'm talking to Connor, and I'm realizing, wait a second, he's only 11. And I'm having like this full conversation with this 11-year-old that I really enjoyed. Recently we had a conversation during a JV basketball game. Connor was injured.
We were talking about his future and what he wants to do, and I was just amazed about his aspirations, about his goals, his maturity. None of this surprised me. I was fully aware of Connor's potential since Schropp, and have enjoyed watching him grow into this passionate, kind, successful, and honest young man. This profession is not an easy nor laid-back profession. Every day something happens. Every day we make thousands of decisions instantly, and every day there are challenges. Every day I strive to inspire and empower students, but to know I've made a meaningful difference in his life fills me with immense joy and purpose. Connor, your acknowledgement means the world to me and reaffirms why I went into the field of education. This recognition is not just about me. It's a reflection of the great educators Connor's had and the coaches we've had in Spartan Nation. I would also like to recognize his family, driving them to all these practices, showing up to all of these events. I have a son who is 7 years old, and I would want him to model Connor, not just because of his academics, but because of his integrity and his true, sincere kindness. Once again, thank you for this honor. I am truly grateful and will continue to strive to make a difference each day, just as you made a difference to me. Thanks, Connor.
Next, we'll introduce Mackenzie Ferrio. Mackenzie has participated in band since 5th grade. She has learned new instruments, has been elected section leader for 2 years, and was elected vice president of the band this year. Mackenzie is a member of National Honor Society at Springfield and a National Technical Honor Society at PLCC. She is a student in PLCC's welding program and is currently working as a welder. After graduation, she will continue to work at her current welding job. Mackenzie plans to attend Hobart Institute of Welding Technology, where she will refine her skills. Mackenzie is recognizing her welding teacher, Mr. Michael Mariana.
Some of you not be familiar with teachers from PLCC, so let me introduce Michael Mariana. Mr. M is the new welding instructor. His first year at PLCC was my junior year, so that makes my class his first full graduating class of PLCC welding students. Mr. M is very successful in the welding industry. He is on the American Welding Society board for his district. He attended and taught at one of the best welding schools, Hobart Institute of Welding Technology. With his experience and knowledge, the welding program has never flourished more than it has now. He has improved the learning criteria, the lab environment, and has confidence in his students that if they put the work in, they will graduate to be successful welders in the future. Mr. M has inspired me so much these past 2 years. I have been taught what it truly means to be successful in this field and what it means to put hard work into something. Mr. M has shown me time and time again that if you put hard work into something and you keep practicing, it'll all pay off in the end. Not only does he teach us about welding and different processes and techniques, he gives us life lessons, especially if you're on work placement. And he always checks in and gives me a better perspective on something that I'm struggling with or a solution to fix something I'm having problems with at work. He's taught me so much in the past 2 years about welding, work, and just life in general. I've exceeded well in my job field. I am thought highly of in my workplace, and I could not have done it without Mr. M has taught me. He has continued to help me through my journey to continue my schooling after graduation and has helped me with anything I may need or any questions I may have. I'm so proud to say that PLCC has gained one of the greatest instructors to teach at PLCC, giving all future students that walk through his doors the opportunity to accomplish great things.
Thank you for those kind words. Being the first senior or first class that I had, Mackenzie coined Mr. M because nobody could say my last name. So I'll be Mr. M forever. She's worked very hard, the top female welder in the class. The success rate is fairly high in our industry, but the failure rate's very high when they start out. So when they started, she was a little like, oh, no, this is not for me. I can't do this. We're having a tough time. The more practice they got, the better she got, and then she became one of the top leaders in the class, and she pretty much commands and controls the class when she's there 2 days a week. I really don't have to do much. She just kind of tells everybody what to do, where to go before I get mad, realistically. Safety's a huge important for her. As an OSHA 10 card holder, she takes that very seriously. As a certified welder, she can go anywhere in the world she wants to do and weld, and she'll do very good at Hobart. Very proud of her. So thank you very much.
Next, Mr. Logan Gasper. Logan Gasper is a 4-year letterman of the cross-country team and track team. He is also a 3-year letterman in the basketball team. He is a PLCC student in the engineering program. Logan is a College Credit Plus student. He is a 2-year member of National Honor Society and a member of National Technical Honor Society. Logan has been accepted at the University of Akron, where he will major in mechanical engineering. Logan is recognizing his 7th grade science teacher, Mr. Tom Fleming.
I chose Mr. Fleming as my most influential educator. Although there are many reasons for this, I will only list a few tonight. Mr. Fleming is one of those teachers that makes coming to school fun and exciting. I would always enjoy walking into his class. Every day was something different, and he was always there to put a smile on every kid's face. From his nature hikes to the pond, to the Bill Nye and Wildcats videos he would show us in class. Class was always a different adventure every day. You would never knew what you would catch Mr. Fleming doing, whether it was roller skating, skateboarding, or walking his dogs down the hallways. Mr. Fleming is probably most known for his dogs, Sully, Mabel, Guinness, and his snake Tyson. I'm not sure if Mr. Fleming knows the significance that his animals brings to the kids in the school, whether it's junior high or high school. I was your 7th grade student the first time I met Sully. He was the best dog ever, and I still have pictures on my phone to this day. Another thing that inspires me is Mr. Fleming's work ethic. Not only can you see this impressive work ethic in the classroom, but also in the many hours he puts on in his farm, Flora Fields Farm. He works hard on his John Deere tractor to provide the community with the best flowers you've ever seen. Guys, go visit his flowers stand with your girlfriend and get her some top-notch flowers. You'll thank me eventually. With his upbeat demeanor, Mr. Fleming made me always want to look at life with a glass-half-full attitude and look for the positive side in everything. He makes me want to be a better person. He always makes me want to take pride in everything I do. Mr. Fleming is the type of teacher you never want to be disappointed in you. He's been the light to many kids and his impact has been immeasurable. I have the privilege and honor to come up here and talk about you and the impact you have had on me, which has been tremendous. But to be honest, you have impacted so many other kids too. So on behalf of myself and all the other students, we say thank you and we appreciate you more than words could ever mean.
Wow. Touched. Well, those dogs, I don't know. Mrs. Warner shared her dogs with me before. She brought in a bunch of puppies. I wasn't going to talk about my dogs here, so this is unprepared, but they're special, aren't they? I mean, I don't know, they do something special for the kids, and I appreciate you acknowledging Solly. Losing him was one of the hardest things I ever went through, but I do have a couple special ones now, so. No shame, Mr. Burns, on wearing your wife's readers. I'm sitting here trying to read my speech right now, and are those readers? Are those?
Yeah, all right. Well, Mr. Burns, there's only one thing better than your wife's readers. It's Mr. Vaughn's readers. So if you need them, you know where to find them. Logan, it is a great honor to have been chosen as your influential educator. I believe your mom was in 7th grade at Spring Hill when I started my career. Man, so there's a lot of family, friends, there's a lot of acquaintances in here, and I tell you, I feel very, very lucky to network with such a fine group of people, truly fine group of people. Through the years, I have had the privilege of teaching many fine young men, but none better than Logan Gaspar. Logan is the Spartan standard that we talk about, Mrs. Warner. He is the Spartan standard. Respectful, kind, helpful, determined, resourceful, diligent, dutiful, and academic. He has exhibited these personal characteristics in our classrooms, on our courts, on our fields, and in our halls. Logan inspires classmates and gives faith to educators. He makes us feel good. When a student such as Logan graduates, a void is left behind that is hard to fill. Logan, let us hope that others will receive the baton that you have carried so dutifully. Well done, young man. I have complete confidence that you will continue to be a shining example as you seize your destiny. Congratulations to Logan and the Gaspar family on this fine accomplishment. Excellence in education and community involvement is a Gaspar family tradition. And congratulations to all the top 25. Never has there been a greater day to be a Spartan.
It's going the wrong way. All right, congratulations to the top 25 class, the class of 2024, all the families that have come out to support those students tonight, and the total class of 2024, and the influential educators. Next up, we have Associate Principal, Mrs. Danielle Starkey.
There's a few things I'll start off saying. One, Tom, you're lucky you found those glasses because Kevin usually leaves them in the parking lot on top of his car in my office, along with 100 other things, so I thought that was funny. The other thing is I know that Marlo and Lexi said something that was really interesting. They said, we're quiet. And the one thing is about this top 25 group, they're really quiet. Parents, you may disagree, but they're such a quiet group of kids in all the good ways. But the one thing I do is I look at all these kids, and as an assistant principal, not many kids want to come up and say hello to me. They're like, oh, yeah. And it's this group of kids, every one of them I look at have always greeted me, said hello, and very positive. So congratulations, parents, for raising a great group of kids. I'd like to call forward Brady Hahn. And Brady is recognizing his biology teacher, golf coach, Mr. Jack Morgan. Brady Hahn has been part of the golf, basketball, and baseball teams during high school. He is a 4-year letterman in both golf and basketball and will be a 3-year letterman in baseball. Brady is a 2-year College Credit Plus student. Brady will be attending the University of Akron to further his education. He plans on majoring in chemical engineering. And again, he is here to recognize teacher and golf coach, Mr. Jack Morgan.
Today, I'll be talking about a teacher and a coach that has been such a positive influence for me and helped me so much in the past few years, Mr. Morgan. I know what a lot of you are thinking. The only reason I picked Mr. Morgan is that I look tall in all the pictures after this, but that's not the only reason. Mr. Morgan has been my golf coach for all 4 years of high school, as well as my biology teacher for sophomore year. Mr. Morgan has had such a positive impact on my life. He's helped me become a better golfer, a better student, and a better person. There's a saying by the famous golfer Jack Nicklaus that goes, "The game of golf is 90% mental and 10% physical." Since the start of my freshman year, I have struggled with the mental aspect of golf. If I made a mistake, I would lose my cool, and my game would get worse and worse. Mr. Morgan taught me how important mental strength was in golf and in life. He helped me to get better and better at this every year. He's also the only person who can calm me down on the course. If it wasn't for him strengthening my mental game and calming me down on the course when I needed it, I would not have been nearly as successful through my high school golf career. He has helped me come a long way when it comes to mental strength, and I will continue to work on it. Mr. Morgan is always willing to help in any way you need him to and really cares about his students. The other day, I asked him to write me a recommendation letter for a scholarship that I wanted to apply for, and he dropped all of his personal work and got the letter to me within the hour. He always puts his team and students before himself. I have a huge amount of respect for him as a coach, teacher, and a person. I am very thankful to know him, and one day, I hope that people will think of me the same way I think of him. Thank you for everything you've done for me over the years, Mr. Morgan. I truly am grateful.
Thank you, Brady, for those kind words. I really appreciate it. As a coach and a teacher, you're going to meet all kinds of people, and one of the things that I really learned about Brady, especially when he came in as a freshman, and he had this attitude that when you see him, you know it, and it wasn't like it was a cocky attitude or anything like that. It was just like, I know I'm pretty good at things, and I just need some help to perfect it. And the thing with Brady, that was me in high school. And I remember so much coming home and talking to my wife and saying, this kid is just like me. And we had a connection right from the start. And the funny thing is, he used to joke with me all the time. And I would come home and I would tell my wife, he's talking about playing football again. Oh no, he better not play football, because there goes my golf team. And every single week it would be, I don't know, Mr. Morgan, I don't know if I got it, I'm playing football. And I'm like, come on, Brady, we got to just stick with it. And then he turned out to be one of the best players. I don't know if you guys know, but Mr. Vaughn and I were going through and we're doing these new record boards. He's got most of the records in Springfield High School golf history, which is outstanding. I mean, he had a heck of a career for me. And I really appreciate him because he taught me to be actually a better coach and a better teacher. Because when you come across students that like him, you want to be better for him. And made me work harder as a golf coach and a teacher just to make sure that my students would actually succeed. So I really thank you for that, Brady. Thanks with you guys, everyone else in the top 25. I want to make sure you guys know, I don't know if you guys remember this, but I had most of you guys in 7th grade study hall. And I can honestly tell you, it was the worst class I've ever had in my years of teaching. I was like, God, if I could only get through study hall with these 7th graders. And I would complain to my wife, I'm like, man, I don't want to be around these 7th graders. Don't ever give me 7th grade ever again. But I tell you what, we've created some of the best memories. I know almost all you guys in the top 25, and I can honestly tell you, you guys have probably been my most favorite class in the 23 years of teaching that I've ever had. So thank you guys.
I guess they weren't quiet in 7th grade. I'd like to welcome to the podium Ian Hartman. Ian is recognizing Mr. Ernie Cole, his band teacher. Ian Hartman has participated in marching band for 5 years, holding positions of junior representative and secretary. He has also been a member of symphonic band, jazz band, and pep band. Ian is a 4-year member of the bowling team, lettering 2 years. Ian also ran track for 1 year. He is a 2-year member of National Honor Society, where he is currently serving as vice president. He is a 2-year member of class council and is a College Credit Plus student. Ian represented Springfield at Junior Leadership Akron and was a student with the inaugural phlebotomy, thank you, I practiced this for putting this in here for me, inaugural phlebotomy course at Portage Lakes Career Center. After graduation, Ian plans to attend the University of Akron, where he will major in biomedical science. He would like to pursue a career in biomedical engineering. Again, Ian is recognizing Mr. Ernie Cole.
Hi. So music is my passion, and I have been involved in as many musical programs through Springfield as I possibly could. Mr. Cole happened to be the teacher of almost all of those programs up until this year. When I was a 7th grader, I was invited to join the marching band going into 8th grade year, and I was intimidated and nervous about the entire situation. With Mr. Cole as my teacher, sure, he had his moments where he was scary, and he was very scary, but he was also hilarious and witty. He was always able to lighten the mood sometimes and brighten your day. Mr. Cole is a trumpet player, just like me, so I looked up to him and his playing ability from the first time I met him. He was a part of the Bluecoats, which is amazing to me. The Bluecoats are a world-class drum and bugle corps. They are professionals, and Mr. Cole was one of them. He's not only amazing at his instrument, but he's a musical genius. He knew almost everything about music theory, and he even took a short guitar course just so he could become our guitar lab teacher here at Springfield. He's probably one of the most musically inclined individuals I have ever had the pleasure of meeting. One of my favorite memories was when I was able to take jazz band as a class my sophomore year. They don't have it as a class anymore, but there were like 7 of us in that class, including Mr. Cole. With such a small class, he was able to be more open with us, and he was able to teach more hands-on, which made it such a memorable experience, and it was really awesome. Mr. Cole is one of the teachers that I've seen put true passion into what he does. We have a smaller band than we had many years ago, but he still brought the same energy to us. He still made sacrifices to help keep our band going. He worked twice as hard to keep our band together with the absence of Mrs. Fraley, which could not have been easy, and he retired 1 year later than planned because of this. Mr. Cole was on the trip with our band when his grandbaby was born. That's the other thing about Mr. Cole. He's not just a great teacher. He is a great person, husband, father, and grandfather. He is the perfect definition of a family man. I have the utmost respect for you, Mr. Cole, and I couldn't have asked for a better teacher to show me what I love. I thank you all for allowing me to speak about Mr. Cole today, and I thank you, Mr. Cole, for everything you have done for me, this school, and our program.
Thank you very much, Ian. Very touching. I kind of want to say I might have snookered you a little bit because I'm not a musical genius, but I wanted everyone to think I was, though, right? So, no, thank you very much. First, congratulations to all of you out here that made the top 25. It was weird this year. I taught for 36 years, and I thought I was ready. I knew I was ready, but, I taught 27 years here at Springfield. I never got to see my son play football because he played football at a different school. And, well, I got to see him play in a playoff game. So that was nice to get that opportunity. But, it was nice. And same thing with, like he said, I never imagined that my first grandchild would be born while I was in Disney with the band, but it happened. So, but that was okay. I was in line at the mine ride at Magic Kingdom, which that was okay. So I appreciate that. But Mr. and Mrs. Hartman, I have to tell you that one of the things that I usually say when someone says, "Oh, do you miss teaching?" and I usually say, I miss the fun that I had at rehearsals, and I miss some of the kids. But I will tell you that one of the faces that I see every time I say that is Ian's face. And that's the kind of kid that Ian, you guys did a great job with Ian Hartman. He's going to be a wonderful person, or he already is. He's going to be a wonderful whatever he does. I know he's going to Akron U, not sure, but that's okay. We'll let that go because I know he's going into engineering, and that's, where else do you go but Akron U for that. So thank you very much. Springfield, the last thing I just want to say is you guys are in such good hands now I'm glad that Mrs. Fraley is now here for the band here at Springfield High School, because she will continue everything. She's a wonderful person, and so things look very, very bright for the high school band program. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Go Zips. That's been an ongoing battle. I'd like to call to the podium Alyssa Hochstetler. Alyssa is recognizing her street law teacher, Mr. Dave Bosco. Alyssa is a 4-year letterman on the varsity softball team. She is a 2-year member of the National Honor Society. Alyssa is a College Credit Plus student. After graduation, Alyssa will be attending Ohio Northern University to further her education. As of now, she's undecided on her major, but is considering psychology. Alyssa will also be continuing her softball career at the collegiate level. Alyssa is recognizing her street law teacher, Mr. Dave Bosco.
I have selected Mr. Bosco for the Top 25 recognition. My decision was influenced by his excellent teaching capabilities and his kind heart. I had the opportunity to have Mr. Bosco as my teacher during my senior year. Prior to my senior year, I had only had him as a sub a few times. Now I have him in street law. Entering the class, I was intrigued because I was still unsure of my major for college, and I was hoping to find something that would spark an interest. Initially, I felt scared to take his class due to the highly subjective nature. However, on my first day, Mr. Bosco quickly showed me the class would be far from scary. After just a few classes, it became one of my favorites I had taken in my high school career. His teaching methods are what made me love the class. I thoroughly enjoy the freedom we have while still learning the material. He has lessons that students are able to engage in and share opinions. Along with these lessons and lectures, we also do fun hands-on activities. One of the memorable opportunities we had was to examine the school resource officer's patrol car. Both my classmates and I found it very fun. Through all of the lectures and classes, he takes the time to listen to his students and makes the class enjoyable. He has a genuine connection with the students and makes people feel seen. Every morning, he takes the time to ask me and the other students questions about our day. This is very important to me because personally, I only have a few classes in person this year. It is easy for me to get sidetracked by other things going on in my life, but I feel relaxed when I'm in his class. Overall, Mr. Bosco has made my senior year more enjoyable. Thank you.
I was given a few notes before coming up here. Kevin Hanna wanted me to remind everybody that the 2024 draft has started and the Browns have already blown it. Kevin. So he's happy about that. Mr. Benson and Mr. Graves wanted me to remind everybody that the Kevin Gorby rule is in effect. You should be under 90 seconds, teachers. You guys will understand what that means, I think. Alyssa, thank you, and it's so amazing to be here. I wrote my notes down because I don't think I'm a very good speaker, and I wanted to make sure I got this right. Alyssa is not just a top graduate of our school, she is a perfect example of integrity, respect, and responsibility. These traits are the pillars upon which she has built her impressive high school career, balancing rigorous academics with exceptional athletic achievements. Earlier this month, the Akron Beacon Journal wrote an article that listed Alyssa as a top 15 softball player in the area. And when I found it, I saw her cheering with her friends, and I think Destiny's in there somewhere, and she's doing her heart. And she's just exploding with excitement after someone hit her in. And as soon as I saw it, I shared with my wife. I said, this is a perfect picture of Alyssa. Just who she is passionate, hardworking, and determined. And it's funny because her sister, Alexis, I had her, and I don't think she remembers this, but she came into street law class once and said, you think I'm bad? Because she was in a bad mood or something. I'm like, Alexis, what's going on? And she was like, you think I'm bad? Wait till you meet my sister. Well, no, Alyssa was, I would have to say, much, much nicer. Don't arrest me or tase me or anything like that. Her family, who I met tonight, I enjoy so much. Seeing Tanya and Stan, and I know she was also an athlete here at Springfield, I'm envious. I went to their game a couple days ago, and I saw them against Woodridge, and I saw how Alyssa played, and she hit a real shot. Was one of the fastest players I've seen on the field. It was just so rewarding to see all these Springfield people together. And it was so perfect, and it just fit her perfectly, because in this race and society, that the things that we're doing, the things are going so fast, it was so nice to see everybody enjoying such a wonderful moment. And I didn't want to introduce myself yet to her family because they were so locked into the game, and it was just so nice. And after the game, Alyssa came up and said, "Mr. Bosco, thank you for coming." And it was so kind and so sweet. And it was like, that's what life is really all about. So to sum it all up, she has all the necessary skills to be wonderful in college with whatever she chooses to do. She's going to be at Ohio Northern, and I've already looked. Once she goes to college, we can actually pay for her to send out a tweet or an Instagram post with a new NIL deal. So I want to be her first customer to have her do something where she can make a little bit of money in college, which I'm a big supporter of. Finally, just to wrap it up under the Gorby rule, I don't want to be too long. As you step forward into the next chapter of your life, remember that your character combined with your talent will guide you to even greater heights. We are all incredibly proud of you and can't wait to see all that you achieve. Thank you, Alyssa, for picking me and making me feel so honored to be here, and for being a shining example of what it means to be a student, an athlete, and most importantly, a kind human being. Thank you.
I'd like to call to the podium Tia Holmes. Tia is recognizing her French teacher, Madame Smith. Tia is a 4-year letterman of the varsity softball team. She is a member of Senior Class Council and a 2-year member of National Honor Society. Tia serves as an assistant to the officers with National Honor Society. Tia is taking college classes through the College Credit Plus program. She has been accepted at Kent State University and will be majoring in speech pathology. Again, Tia is here to recognize her French teacher, Madame Smith.
I have had Madame Smith for 5 years now, and I'm forever grateful for this time with her. She has been there for me through so much, and I've always been someone I've been able to talk to. Madame is a very warm and welcoming teacher who will always have her students' backs, no matter what. Her class is, and always will be, a judgment-free zone. Madame is a hardworking teacher who always puts her students first, and that is something that I have always admired about her. When I first had Madame, I was in 8th grade. I was so worried about going into French 1 because it was a high school class and I was still in junior high. The class was full of students from all grades, and I was starting to freak out a little bit. Once the class actually started and Madame started talking, I felt a sense of relief and knew that I had nothing to worry about. Over the years, the class size shrunk, so I have been able to get closer to Madame. She would let me sit with her in class and eat lunch with her when none of my friends were at school. Madame knew everything about me, from my schoolwork to my personal life. Over time, Madame started to trust me more, and she would have me help out with her other classes. I played Santa for her French 1 class, and I may have scared some of those kids. I also helped her with making the crepe batter a couple of times in my free periods, and I was one of the students who helped her win the Best Christmas Store Decoration Contest. I started to spend a lot of my free time with Madame at school. She would let me come into her classroom and get my work done for my other classes during French because she knew that I would get her work done. She has helped me so much through maturing into a young adult. I cannot thank her enough for her influence. It is so nice to have someone inside the school building that I can come to with anything. Thank you, Madame Smith.
I am very glad that Tia decided to take French in the 8th grade and then continue throughout all of high school. I am proud of Tia for taking advantage of so many opportunities in school. The early foreign language, honors classes, CCP classes. She plays sports for the school. She volunteers at the school.
She volunteers a lot in the youth sports program. Tia is one very busy and driven girl. I want to say thank you to Tia for sticking with me in French for the past 5 years. I'm going to miss everything. Your grumbling when you walk into my classroom because the stairs that lead to my class are killer. How you arrive to class early and fill me in on your day. All of your stories and all of the creativity that you put into your work. I am still in denial that you are moving on to college full-time, but I am very happy for you and proud of you, and I know you're going to continue to do great things. Congratulations on being in the top of your class, and thank you for selecting me to be with you tonight.
Up next is Karen Jung. She's recognizing her art teacher, Mrs. Kelly Weiss. Karen participated in band for 1 year where she played the alto sax and clarinet. She also is a 1-year member of choir. Karen enjoys her art classes. After graduation, Karen plans to further her education at Ohio State University, where she will be majoring in business. Karen is recognizing today her art teacher, Mrs. Kelly Weiss.
Miss Weiss has been my art teacher since elementary school. For as long as I know her, she hasn't changed. Always warm, careful, and with an energetic smile. Most people's impression of me was shy and didn't talk much. It's worse when I was little. When I first come to Ohio, I can barely speak English. Communicate and schoolwork was a challenge for me. Not only am I able to communicate, but I also can understand teacher introduction. All these made me feel tired of school. For me, school was a place that made me feel ashamed and uneasy. I didn't like art class first because my brother was really good at drawing, and he knew it. As an emerging kid, he always made fun of my drawing. Just for kidding, he was the best brother I could have. I remember when I was in elementary school where I signed for a peacock art. I accidentally made the right side of the peacock really dark. To fix it, I decided to dye all the peacock feather. Miss West come over, she looked at it, and I thought, oh no, she definitely would make me redo this. But she didn't. Instead, she said, I love it. You make a light dark. I look at the drawing of the peacock feather from left to right. The color changed from light to dark. Miss West, as always, can find everything and give compliment, no matter how small it is. She will give the big compliment. She was the best listener. One time, I have got an A for my test. It's just a small thing, but I don't feel comfortable to share anyone but she. And she gave me the big compliment. For me, who is very introverted, this compliment is the motivation I come to school every day. She will never let anyone feel lonely. With her class, I love art more and more because it made me feel confident and comfortable.
I'm probably going to cry. I'm sappy like that. Class of 2024, congratulations. As she mentioned, I've only been up here with the big kids for 2 years, but for 29 years, I've been with the little kids. So most of you, I have known since first grade. And used to come in the art room and you'd sit in the chair and your little feet didn't even touch. They'd just shake back and forth. And now I look at you and, oh my goodness. But what an honor for me not to get to know you for a semester or for a year, but almost your whole education, so many of you. I was really, really fortunate to meet Karen when she came to Springfield in the 5th grade, so she was 10. And she was worried she couldn't speak English. I was worried I couldn't speak Chinese. I cannot really put into words how proud I am of her. I can't imagine going to some place where everything is new. The food is new, the language is new, the kids are new. And here she is, top 25 of her class. It's amazing. It's a huge accomplishment. Her academics, she takes chemistry. I can't do chemistry. I mean, it's just amazing. So proud of you, honey. So I have a gift for you to open later. And I made it's a sketchbook, so you keep drawing. Art is something that I think when you don't have the words, and if there's a language barrier, what better way to express yourself? She has expressed herself over and over and over in such beautiful and profound ways, and has just been a blessing to our school, and a gift to me, so this will be a gift to her. To all of you in 2024, congratulations, you've made us all so proud.
I'd like to call to the podium Rian Kendall. Rian is recognizing her med tech teacher, Mrs. Maureen Paxak. Rian is a 4-year member of the girls' varsity basketball team. She has a 2-year member of National Honor Society. She is a College Credit Plus student and a PLCC student in the med tech program. After graduation, Rian plans to continue her education at Ohio Northern University, where she was accepted into the Robb College of Pharmacy. She will complete a 6-year program to obtain her PharmD degree. Rian is recognizing her med tech teacher, Mrs. Maureen Paxak.
I have had Mrs. Pazak for the past 2 years at Portage Lakes Career Center. She teaches the medical technician program, which consists of medical terminology, anatomy, and pharmacology. Mrs. Pazak has been one of the most influential educators I have had the pleasure of learning from. Not only her teaching, but her heart and dedication to her students are what stick with me the most. When I first attended PLCC, I was mortified. Just envisioning the difficulty of my class, I knew it was going to be challenging. Mrs. Pazak never sugarcoated it, but explained that all it takes is putting in the extra time and effort. She told me from day one that I would succeed. Mrs. Pazak created such a profoundly safe space where other students could feel valued and heard. Whether it was extra time, resources, accommodations, or even a little snack, she always had us covered. She was always about putting her students' needs first, but still cared for academics as well. The atmosphere she created was one that I hope to bring to other aspects of my life. Her uplifting spirit and beliefs inspired me to pursue a career in the medical field. She taught me how important professionalism is. It's not all about dressing well or having the perfect handshake. It's about reliability, responsibility, and respect in every interaction. I truly could never thank her enough for how much more prepared I feel for the world than just 2 years ago. I recently took the EXCPT exam to become a certified pharmacy technician. Despite my continued doubts, Mrs. Pazak kept reassuring me that I would pass, and sure enough, I did. She prepared me better than I could have hoped. Mrs. Pazak is also there for the tough times, always offering a listening ear and a helping hand. I could always count on her to help me with anything. Most importantly, she was a wealth of knowledge even beyond the textbooks. Mrs. Pazak taught me other life lessons like kindness, resilience, and the importance of hard work. She would go above and beyond for our individual interests, from bringing speakers in to assisting us with getting the job we wanted. She made sure we got to explore everything. Mrs. Pazak had an immense impact on my life and how I will conduct myself in the future. Her impact is immeasurable, and the values she instills will resonate throughout my personal and professional endeavors. I hope everyone is fortunate enough to have the honor of being taught by someone with such great qualities as Mrs. Pazak. She will continue to inspire me for many years to come.
All I can say is, wow. I
don't know where to begin, other than, first of all, congratulations, Rian, for this achievement that you have worked so hard and dedicated so much time to your life in achieving. And I also want to congratulate all the other 2024 graduates with this, for the same endeavor, and to all of the parents who have been there to love and support your children. So I left my profession of being an RN practicing for 40 years to come to Portage Lakes Career Center to be a teacher. So if you can imagine everything that I had to learn, but little did I know that 2 years ago I would look out into my classroom and see the face of an angel. I will tell you, Rian has inspired me as much as she says I have inspired her. The growth that I have seen in her has been incredible and wonderful, and it has become truly inspiring. So I have a few little notes here, and I think maybe I don't want to forget. I'm just very overwhelmed right now, Rian. Thank you. So, Rian, through your work ethic and everything that you have done, from being on the basketball court to achieving amazing grades to early college, high school, and everything in between, you have grown to possess everything that you need to have this foundation, this springboard to an amazing life. You have everything from intelligence, a work ethic that goes beyond words, passion, and all of the things that you also possess, intrinsic kindness, character, all of the things that you possess that are human and far-reaching, that you don't even realize the lives that you have touched, including mine. I know that you will one day achieve great success in whatever it is, whatever endeavors you aspire to. But I also know that you will and have already made this world a better place. And I am very privileged and honored to have been a part of your educational journey for these past 2 years, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of the things you have given me and everyone around you. Thank you.
I'd just like to personally congratulate the class of 2024. We all know that you're here because you're very bright, but as we hear over and over again, you are a really special group of kids, and families, congratulations to you. At this time, I'd like to turn over the podium to Mr. Tim Burns. He is one of our assistant principals for the high school. I would like to turn the podium over to Mr. Lovell. He also is one of the assistant principals for the high school.
All right, our next honoree is Mr. Michael Knox. Michael Knox is honoring and recognizing his bowling coach, Mrs. Dana Floyd. Michael has participated on the baseball team for 4 years. He has also been a part of the bowling team for the past 2 years. Michael is a 4-year letterman on the baseball team and a 2-year letterman on the bowling team. This year, Michael earned a place at the state bowling competition and was named to the state all-state bowling team. Michael has been a College Credit Plus student for the past 2 years and plans to continue his education at the University of Akron. He is currently undecided on his major. Michael is recognizing Mrs. Dana Floyd, his bowling coach.
I first met Coach Floyd in 3rd grade when I moved to Springfield. I had a great year and learned a lot from her, but the first week of school really stands out for me. On my first day of school, a group of boys and I went to the restroom. While we were there, a surprise lockdown drill took place. The other boys and I scurried back to the classroom. We knocked and knocked, but no answer. Our 8-year-old selves decided the next smartest thing to do was go into the room next door, the computer room. We proceeded to climb into the cabinets in the computer room until the lockdown was over. Mrs. Floyd then frantically burst into the computer room looking for her lost students. Of course, the 3 of us were there, safe and sound. This week continued to not disappoint, as the next day, my second day at a new school, tragedy struck. I had taken quarters to school to pay for lunch. While playing on the playground, I had lost 1 or 2 of those quarters. I thought it was the end of the world. Miss Floyd found me crying in the recess line and gave me a few extra quarters to get lunch, after she explains that I still could have eaten without them. I didn't have much communication with Miss Floyd over the next decade until she returned as the bowling coach. Miss Floyd, as I knew her, was now Coach Floyd, and she came back into the program with one goal in mind: making it to states. We worked hard over the next 6 months, and the day finally came when I qualified for states and districts. I would like to thank Coach Floyd for all she has done for me in the bowling world and in the classroom, even after she traumatized me.
I wasn't bringing any of that up at all. I promised I wouldn't. First of all, I'd like to congratulate all of the young ladies and gentlemen out there. Kudos to you and to your parents for your love and your patience. Look at where you are. And to all of the educators that are here tonight. I feel very blessed to be here with you, but I already knew you were awesome. So, okay, first of all, I'm an elementary teacher, so we do things slightly different. Bad news for you. So, Mr. Knox, it is true, you have had the misfortune of having me twice. Once as an 8-year-old young man who just came to Springfield, and once as a senior bowler on our high school team. Your mother has raised such a lovable and responsible young man who is completely devoted to his sister and extremely loyal to his cousin Jordan and the whole clan. You should be commended for the wonderful young man that you've raised up here. I would hope, Michael, that you never, ever, ever forget. Oh my gosh, I forgot. Look who I brought. Okay, it was one prop I was hoping not to forget. Anywho, I would hope that you would never forget to believe in yourself, because you are extremely intelligent. You are an avid outdoorsman, which kind of kills me in a way. You are a phenomenal athlete who can play just about any sport that you want. And in case you hadn't heard, this young man up here did go to the state tournament. He finished 14th out of 1,700 D2 bowlers. And he did it with a smile on his face and joked around the entire time. I've never seen somebody more relaxed than he was. What an accomplishment. You should always, I know. Okay, you should always, I'm not really cold. I've been sweating for quite some time. But maybe my good stuff. You should always believe in yourself. Oh no, I wouldn't make you do that. Like I believe in you. Now we have matching shirts.
Oh, good.
Just saying. So you should always believe in yourself like I believe in you. And never, ever forget all of the special talents and skills that you have. So bowlers are notorious for picking stuff up the bowling alley and then handing it to their coach and saying, put that in your backpack. So I have lugged a lot of stuff around. And at the end of the season, when you're going through everything, I was cleaning out my backpack. Obviously, I couldn't get rid of Snoopy, but there were some things that the boys had given me. And one of them, you gave me. Do you remember what you gave me in October? What did you give me?
Piece of the floor.
Yeah. So Michael hands me a piece of carpet from Spins Bowls, and I have carried it all season long in my bag. I don't really know the purpose other than it represented when we started. But it also represents your family away from your family. And it's a family that you are always welcomed back to, no matter what, no matter when, no matter the circumstances. This family loves you and is very proud of you, and we will always be there for you. And I made sure I even put your family on the back of this carpet square. That really does smell. I tried to sanitize it for you so that you never forget the family that you have created with this group of kids and with your coaches. We love you very much and very proud of you. So you hold your own carpet square now, one thing out of my bag. The last thing I wanted to get you was some summer reading before you go to college. And as a third grade teacher, you guys read a lot of stuff that I wouldn't be reading. But this Curious George book was up my alley. And it's called Curious You on Your Way. And I wanted to read a little part of it, but I won't because then it'll spoil the ending and it won't be as much fun. But I wanted to read the back cover. And it says, "Congratulations to incredible, capable, curious you, because you're about to embark on a wonderful adventure, that you are going to do amazing things on this adventure. But if you ever need this family, you just let us know. We are so proud of you, and we love you very much. Congratulations."
Our next honoree is Lily McElroy, or McElroy as her father said. Lily is recognizing her Spanish teacher, Senora Di Tomaso. Lily has participated in the College Credit Plus program through the University of Akron for 2 years. She has had a number of jobs. She is currently working at a steakhouse and plans to continue this through college. In the fall, Lily will be attending the University of Akron, where she will major in financial planning. Lily is again recognizing her Spanish teacher, Senora Di Tomaso.
Senora Di Tomaso was my Spanish teacher for 3 years. Sometimes we like to say 2 because the first year it was a first period class and I'm not a morning person. By the time I got to her class every day during my sophomore year, I was absolutely bouncing off the walls. I was in one classroom for the majority of the day that year, and I think I was going a little stir crazy. At the end of all of our classes, I would go up to Senora's desk just to talk to her until I had to leave for the day. It didn't matter what or who about, she would just talk back with me while I played in her mini Zen garden that she kept on her desk, and this still goes on. My junior year, I had a little bit more of a free schedule, and her prep period was one of my AP periods. I remember going to visit her to tell her the smallest things about my life, even though I still had a class with her. Now that it is my senior year, and I'm only at the school for 1 period, and it is not for a Spanish class, I still visit her often, but I can say it's not the same without her. Throughout these last 4 years, I've been able to go to her with everything from my most recent Starbucks order to whatever I needed to cry to someone about. I hope all the advice that she has given me about school can carry me through college because she has been a huge part of my time as a high school student and an amazing role model.
When Lily came to me a couple weeks ago and told me she had chosen me, I was thrilled because, one, I knew, well, first of all, I adore her, and secondly, it was just nice knowing who you had to speak about, because it's a little nerve-wracking when you come up here and it's kind of off the cuff. So then I started to think about it, and I'm like, this is actually worse. This is worse, because now I'm expected to say something, and it's supposed to be well thought out. So she came to visit me a couple days ago, and she said she was working on her paper about me and whatnot, and I said, Lily, I'm a little paranoid still. I think maybe I'm supposed to write a paper about you. What should I do? Should I write a paper about you too? Should I be reading a paper? I mean, it's a bold-faced miracle both of us are up here right now, because we wanted to fly out of here like 10 minutes ago. And she was so kind, and she said, you don't need to write a paper about me, Senora. And then she whispered quietly, but if you do, I'll frame it and hang it in my bedroom forever. So I wrote you a paper.
No, you did not.
And I framed it.
Oh my goodness.
I would read this, but it's in Spanish and no one would get it. And I didn't bring my readers either, like Mr. Fleming. So I'm going to give that to you.
Thank you so much.
I expect that to be in your bedroom for the rest of your life. I hope your husband likes it. I've truly enjoyed having Lily in class. I was so excited that she went on to Spanish 2, 3, and 4. She's absolutely adorable. Her laugh, her smile is infectious, and she's awesome. I've just loved having her in class, and I can't wait to see what she does after she graduates. Thank you. Thank you for choosing me.
Our next honoree is Lillian Meyer. Lillian is recognizing one of her science teachers, Mrs. Michelle Hanna. Lillian has participated in her junior and senior class councils. She played Spartan volleyball for 3 years and 1 year of golf, lettering in both sports. Lillian is a 2-year College Credit Plus member and a volunteer at Akron General Hospital. Lillian will be attending The Ohio State University in the fall as a member of their honors college. Lillian will be majoring in neuroscience and plans to pursue her master's degree after completing her undergraduate work. Lillian is recognizing her science teacher, Mrs. Michelle Hanna.
Okay. So I met Miss Hanna in my sophomore year of high school, and that is something that I'm now immensely grateful for. Miss Hanna was my teacher for biology, and if I have one thing to say, it's that Miss Hanna was not, biology was not Miss Hanna's favorite. But if it wasn't for taking biology, she would have never convinced me to take advanced chemistry. Fortunately, Miss Hanna loves chemistry, and I soon learned to as well. In my junior year, Miss Hanna and I quickly became close as we would frequently chat about colleges. One March afternoon in chemistry, Miss Hanna approached me. She had known of my continued interest in neuroscience and told me she had a friend at Akron Children's Hospital. From here, all the pieces fell into place and I found myself shadowing a neuropathologist, where I assisted in the dissection of an ovarian tumor in a human brain. After shadowing, I applied for a mentorship and I began volunteering on the neuroscience nursing floor at Akron General Hospital. Throughout the summer of my junior year, I applied innovation by eagerly carving my path in this field, and I wouldn't have been able to do it without her there every step of the way. Ms. Hanna provided me with an opportunity of a lifetime, and I will assuredly remember her act of kindness for the rest of my life. Ms. Hanna has influenced me in more ways than one. Her chemistry classes introduced me to a passion, and her infinite wisdom helped me become the person I am today. And I'm very grateful that she didn't lose faith in me when I broke a test tube and crystallized my lab to the desks. Proceeding into my 4th and final year, Ms. Hanna and I had a final and more serious college chat. This chat was the deciding factor into where to attend in the fall. She told me not to live in a world of what-ifs, and to not pass up opportunities I may not receive again. Those words have stuck with me to this day and will stick with me forever. Thank you, Ms. Hanna, for the incredible opportunities and the advice you've given me during these last 3 years. Thank you.
Before I say a few words about Lily, I do want to say congratulations to this top 25 class. This class was really special to me. I had a lot of them for 2 years, biology and chemistry. And Lily's not lying, biology is not my favorite, so we struggled through it together, but I was fortunate enough to have them all again in chemistry, and it was 2 very good years of my career. So congratulations to all of you. I remember in biology, Lily says to me, as we're starting to think about the next years, she says, "Do you think I can do advanced chemistry?" "Well, yeah, Lily, I do. I think you can do advanced chemistry. I think you'll rock it." I said, "What do you want to do when you graduate?" "I want to go into neuroscience." "Wow. Yeah, I think you can do advanced chemistry, Lily." So here we are then in her junior year, and we're getting through advanced chemistry, and she's doing great things. And I did. I said, "Hey, would you have an interest in maybe trying to see if you could shadow somebody?" And I reached out to a friend that had always offered to take our students. If there's one word that I can use to describe Lily, it's perseverance. The hoops that this girl, as a junior, had to jump through just to get in the doors of Children's Hospital to be able to shadow was something, I don't know that I could have done everything that she had to do. She stuck with it, never gave up, and she got there. And she had an awesome experience. And it was so fun to hear her come back and say everything she saw, everything she got to do. And I think that put a little bit more pep in her step for her major that she had chosen. She's a great kid. She came in this year and wanted to know, I'm between 2 schools, Ohio State and Bowling Green. Well, if you don't know, I'm a Bowling Green alumni, so it's kind of like, she's going to go to Bowling Green. And we talked, and I told her, I said, Lil, you have to go where you're not going to say, I wish I would have. So I think she's made her decision, and I think she's made the right decision, and I can't wait to follow this Lillian Meyer as she makes her way into the neuroscience world, because she will make it, because she can persevere. Congratulations, Lily. It's an honor to have been chosen by you, and I can't wait to see where you go. Thank you.
Our next honoree is Alexis Myers. Alexis is recognizing her influential educator, Mr. Kevin Tondra. Alexis has been participating in the Springfield band program since the 6th grade in the flute section and has been a member of the marching band for 5 years. Alexis is a PLCC student in the Law and Criminal Justice program. While at PLCC, she also participated in the Early College High School program, which will allow her to graduate high school with an associate's degree. After graduating, Alexis will attend the University of Akron to earn a bachelor's degree in criminal intelligence analysis. Alexis has chosen Mr. Kevin Tondra as her influential educator.
When I started at PLCC, I also joined the Early College High School program. Kevin Tondra has been our college advisor for the past 2 years, and he has worked so hard with all of us to make sure that we can earn our degrees. Kevin was one of the first staff members I met at PLCC, and he made the entire new process a lot less intimidating. He has tried very hard to help us throughout these past 2 years by giving us classes on stress handling techniques and giving us advice to get through the college level classes. He's been one of the most influential staff members to me. I would not be graduating high school and at the same time getting a college degree right now if it weren't for him. I'm so very thankful and grateful for this opportunity. He tried his very best to help all of us that were in the program and went above and beyond to talk with our professors in order to give us the best chance at being successful. The amount of faith and patience that he's had with our class really inspires and influences me to try to have that same patience with others. Kevin has put a lot of effort into everything he's done for us, between working with the professors, helping us handle the classes, as well as showing us life skills that we can use outside of school and college. One of the main things that I'm going to remember from Kevin was that you never really fail. You only fail if you give up on trying. So any failure is really just an opportunity to learn and grow, and that's one of the main things I'm going to remember from Kevin. He's truly left a positive impact on my life, and I feel like all the work he's done for us has been largely overlooked and not mentioned enough. So I want to thank him for everything that he's done and taught us for the past 2 years. Thank you.
For 27 plus years, I've half joked with students, whether they were traditional college age or CCP or early college high school, that if I ever felt I was losing my touch and positively impacting them, that I would pursue my second passion of being a produce manager at Giant Eagle. And it is half joking in some sense, but I was having one of those moments a few weeks ago where I was just like, wow, you know, I think we all have them as educators at different times, but I was having one of those, and then the envelope came from Springfield, and my wife was in the kitchen, and I opened it, and it was an invite to represent Alexis this evening, and I have a little bit of familiarity with the program, as my wife does as well, just from hearing me talk about it. And my wife, kind of in passing, just said, well, was it somebody you would have expected it from? And I looked and I said, no, I really didn't see this one coming. And it was really a humbling moment for me, and I appreciate that. It was a humbling moment for me that we don't always know the impact we're having. It's not always shouted out from the students, and probably in most cases we don't know, unless an Alexis does this for me this evening. So thank you for inspiring me to continue on and working hard with students. Back to more of a focus on you real quick, I won't talk long. I don't think students always know it, whether, again, they're early college, high school, again, CCP, some of you it's nice to kind of see out there. I don't have as much contact with you, or even the traditional age, that we're always looking for something positive that'll help us remember you. So you don't become one of many, you become Alexis Myers, and I'll remember you for something. And that's something that I'll remember Alexis Myers for. When she started the early college program, she seemed kind of shy, as you would expect. She seemed tepid at times and trying to figure all this out. And I eat breakfast with the English professor that teaches 3 of their English courses that are part of the program. And we were commenting a few weeks ago that, and I think educators would agree with this, I'm not sure if we'd all agree on the same time frame, but from a junior to senior year is when I typically see the biggest change in a young person. But I've never seen such a profound change in an individual as Alexis. She went from kind of tepid, kind of shy, to this person who eludes confidence and a presence, and she can look you in the eye and talk. And she was never the student that would come and complain to me about something. She would just ask questions, and I would provide her feedback, and she would move on, and then if she had more questions, she'd come and I'd provide feedback, and she'd move on, and now here she is. But again, never such a profound maturity. I'm going to rewind for a second. I don't think they always know that we do read the application essays very thoroughly. I've probably read hers 2 or 3 times before before I move on to the next one. But I remember in her essay, she mentioned her mom and her dad often, but her dad's quote, who I met for the first time this evening, was littered throughout that essay multiple times. And do you remember the quote? It was a long time ago. The quote was, being true to yourself. And she had that in that paper, and it seems simplistic, but it's really not. And I think as older adults, if we're being honest with each other, it was something I needed to hear, being true to oneself. I have 2 daughters. I can't tell you how many times I've agonized with them on that statement, being true to yourself. Don't conform to somebody else's expectations. Be true to yourself, be true to yourself. She had that littered multiple times. I think it was what had happened in that year as Alexis was starting to be true to herself. And that's what we now see standing up here before us. I'll end this by fast-forwarding now. She's coming to the University of Akron, law enforcement of some kind. My wife's been a first-grade teacher for 27 years. She tells me often about the law enforcement personnel that come out and talk to the students. I had this vision of her at some point being one of those people that come out to the classrooms, and I can hear her. I can hear her echoing what she wrote in her paper to the students. Be true to yourself. Be true to yourself. And her father's legacy will live on. So congratulations, Alexis.
Our next honoree is Chloe Paul. Chloe is recognizing her law and criminal justice teacher, Mr. Harold Britt. Chloe has participated in marching band for 5 years, holding the position of class representative during both her freshman and sophomore years. Chloe attends the Portage Lakes Career Center, where she is a student in the Law and Criminal Justice program. While at PLCC, Chloe participated in the Early College High School program and will graduate with an associate's degree from the University of Akron. She is a member of National Technical Honor Society. She was a member of Spanish Club, Student Council, and was a member of Student Congress. After graduation, Chloe plans to attend Stony Brook University, where she will pursue a degree in political science. She would like to continue furthering her education with an end goal of law school. Chloe is recognizing her law and criminal justice teacher, Mr. Harold Britt.
About a month back, when we were told that we needed to pick a teacher that either inspired or influenced us throughout high school, or school in general, the first person I thought of was Mr. Harold Britt. I first met Mr. Britt when I visited Portage Lakes Career Center as a sophomore, and my first opinion of him was that he was very loud, but also very outgoing and a very nice person. I got to know more about him when I entered his class at the beginning of my junior year. Before I joined Law and Criminal Justice, I had only ever heard good things about him from both my sister, who knew him as a school resource officer, and from my upperclassmen who knew him as a teacher. He is a great person. He is caring, clever, and understanding. If anything is bothering us, if we have any hardships going on in life, he's always willing to listen and give some advice for us. Over the last 2 years, I have learned that he can be very protective over his students and is determined to always do right by us. One time there was a staff member that was a little bit difficult with a couple of my classmates and I, and he worked with us to find a good resolution to that. Mr. Britt encourages us to do our best in everything we try, whether that's during PT, DT, academics, or anything else that we may want to try our hand in. He's an excellent teacher. He makes class fun with different activities like crime scenes and experiments. He always has a good story to tell to keep morale when he knows that we're getting a bit down, and he lets us do things like Kahoot to keep class interesting, and once even had us do karaoke under the idea that it would make us better at public speaking, which obviously didn't work all that much. But in all seriousness, high school genuinely would not have been the same without Mr. Britt. He's an incredible role model, and I look up to him and hope to make him proud one day. I remember at the senior night football game, he was the loudest person in the stands cheering for his students, both me and Alexis. And that's something I am incredibly grateful for, to know that we had him in the stands cheering us on. When life gets rough, I know I can turn to Mr. Britt, as he is someone who will understand what I am going through. He always gives great advice and helps us overcome any challenges that come our ways. My school days, no. My life would not have been the same without Mr. Britt. It is an honor to have him as my most influential educator.
Usually I don't need a mic because I do scream and holler. But thank you, Chloe. It's been a pleasure to be up with you tonight. 2 years ago, I met Chloe walking into our Law and Criminal Justice classroom, an intelligent but shy and scared young girl who wants to be an attorney. And I thought to myself, Lord, that's all we need. During our physical training, it can be psychologically and physically demanding. I yell, I scream, And at times when Chloe would pass, I'd scream, and the look on her face was pleasure. It was a mixture of fear and is this guy crazy? During our police scenarios, I would play the bad guy, yell, scream, look, and act crazy. Chloe would be intimidated, and I thought at times I could get her to cry. Fast forward 2 years, during our physical training, I still yell and scream and act like a madman, but Chloe just looks at me and smiles and says, "Thanks, Mr. Britt." And during our scenarios, she stands her ground and acts professional. She's taken the joy out of yelling. Over the past 2 years, it has been a pleasure to watch a shy, timid young girl transform into a strong, confident young woman who can accomplish any goal that she sets herself to. And I know if I ever need an attorney in the future, I hope I don't, I will call Chloe first. It has been a pleasure to be her teacher, and I learned as much from her as she did from me. Thank you again, Chloe, for the honor of being up here with you.
Our next honoree is Ashley Pickett. Ashley is recognizing her cheer coach, Bethany Tawab. Ashley has been cheering since the first grade. She is a member of the Springfield cheer team, where she is a 3-year letterman and a 2-year captain. Ashley also coaches for Springfield's youth cheer program. Ashley is a 2-year College Credit Plus student. She is a 2-year member of National Honor Society and a member of the Senior Class Council. Ashley has been accepted to Walsh University, where she'll be majoring in business with a minor in communications. Ashley is also signed to continue her athletic career with Walsh's stunt team and their sideline cheer team. Ashley is recognizing her cheer coach, Mrs. Bethany Tawab.
When I first started high school, I was nervous I wouldn't fit in. High school isn't easy for anyone, especially me. I was shy, and I was joining a new cheer team with girls I had never spoken to before. It's safe to say I was a nervous wreck. I had always looked up to these girls and coaches, but actually joining them was a bit scary. I hadn't really talked to Coach Traub before, but when I first met her, it was a lot scarier than I thought it would be. Over the past 4 years, I've had quite a few coaches, but Coach Traub has always been there. We were able to go close throughout these 4 years, and I can definitely say she's changed my life for the better, not only as a cheerleader, but as a person. In cheerleading, she's pushed me to be the best I can be, with skills, energy, and spirit. She's even helped me pursue cheerleading at the collegiate level. Along the way, she's helped me build my confidence in cheerleading and in myself. Coach Traub helped me be more outgoing, volunteering me for things I never would have done without her. And she's also taught me how to be a leader. For the past 2 years, I've been a varsity captain, which is something I would have never expected 4 years ago. I never thought I'd be enough, confident enough, loud enough, or outgoing enough to be a captain. This confidence boost has helped me in so many aspects of my life. I was able to make more friends outside of cheer, and I was able to secure an opportunity to do both cheer and stunt at an amazing college. None of this could have been possible without Coach Traub. We may have had a few disagreements over the years, as expected with any coach, but that never swayed my view of her. I knew she always had our best interests at mind. She'd always look out for us, like we're her second family. And we're definitely with her enough to be her second family. I speak for myself and every other member of the cheer team, or anyone who's ever encountered her, when I say she's always been an amazing coach and an even better role model to help us grow and find who we are as people. I'm forever grateful for the huge impact that she has made on my life and how she changed me not only as a cheerleader, but more importantly as a person. Thank you.
Well, I've had the honor of knowing Ashley longer than just the 4 years. She's been a part of my program for 6 years, and I've even had the opportunity to watch her when she was younger. And you've just been a blessing to this program, and the person that you've become over the last 6 years, I would have never imagined. So I'm very, very proud of you. Thank you for those kind words. Just a little bit about Ashley. She's very driven in her studies and in cheerleading and anything that she's put her mind to. And she said she wasn't sure if she was going to be good enough to be a leader or confident enough, but you've really, the last couple years have just became a natural leader. And I feel I didn't really have to do too much to bring that out of you, because you are a natural born leader. And I am very proud to have had you building a legacy with our program. Ashley and I had a lot of firsts together over the last couple years. She was on my first MAC championship team. She was my first team that we took to states down in Columbus, and many, many, many other things. So I will never forget you, and I know that you're going to do amazing things at Walsh, and I'm excited to come watch you this next season and further your cheer career and further yourself in what you do in the next at Walsh. So congratulations, and congratulations to all of you.
Class of 2024, congratulations. Influential educators, congratulations. You students that are leaving to go to college and play athletics or do something, get with Logan and he'll get you set up with that NIL deal from Mr. Fleming for Flora Fields. I'd like to next bring up Mr. Tim Burns, one of our other assistant principals.
Our next honoree is going to be Amelia Pollock. She is recognizing her theater influence, Miss Lindsay Scarano. Amelia has participated in band since the fifth grade and is a 5-year member of the marching band. She is also a 4-year member of jazz band and a 3-year member of choir. Her senior year, she joined the bowling team, participated in College Credit Plus program, and is a member of the Senior Class Council. Emmy was a student in the inaugural phlebotomy program at Portage Lakes Career Center. Emmy has participated in the Springfield Theater program throughout the high school. After graduation, Emmy plans to continue her education to earn a degree in veterinary technology. Emmy is recognizing Miss Lindsay Scarano.
I remember the first time I walked into the theater room during an open house in my 7th grade year. That was the first brief moment I met Miss Scarano, who was still Miss Ibis at the time. Although I hadn't signed up for theater my first year at the junior high and high school, I immediately knew that it was something I wanted to be a part of. Come my 8th grade year, theater was one of the first classes I put on my schedule. From the very start, Mrs. Scarano was someone who made you feel welcomed and like you were part of a family when in her class. I remember her showing us her wedding photos and how special of a moment it was between the class and her. Throughout my time in high school, Mrs. Scarano was one of the teachers I knew I could be completely comfortable and safe confiding in. I knew that whenever I was in her class or just hanging out in her room during a free period, I could be my authentic self, whether that was through acting or just talking. It was in her class that I discovered my love for acting. I was never the creative kid who took art classes, but Mrs. Scarano made me realize that I truly loved the art of theater. She would always give me good advice, whether it was for my acting or just for everyday life. She was the reason I always auditioned for every school performance. She's passionate about every project she's worked on with us and is the reason I've always strived to be the best I can be on stage. Not only has she inspired me to be my best on stage, she's inspired me to be my best in life. Because of her kindness and patience towards me and every one of her students, it has made me want to pass that on to others and be the best version of myself. I want to give thanks to Mrs. Scarano for being an absolutely amazing teacher and one of the kindest people I've had the pleasure of knowing. I also wanted to say that she made the mistake of telling me that this banquet landed on her birthday. So, happy birthday, Mrs. Scarano. I hope I made it an extra special night.
She wasn't supposed to spill that secret. Well, the first thing that I wanted to say is that as I look out at this amazing sea of students,
I feel beyond grateful to be invited here today. I may be teaching in a different way now, but I feel pretty confident in saying that for any educator, this truly is the highest honor. One of the beautiful aspects about teaching theater is that it becomes a home for a diverse population of students, many of who I am incredibly delighted to see out here today. You get the hard workers, you get the goofballs, the chatters, the quiet ones, and the ones who shine on the stage in the most unexpected of ways. And then every once in a while, you get an incredible student who is not only a talented actor, but who is also responsible, diligent, and kind. Every once in a while, you get an Emmy. I had the absolute pleasure of teaching Emmy through 3 courses of theater, and throughout the years, Emmy has never shied away from an opportunity. She volunteered for lead roles in our theater classes, stepped up to play Mrs. White in Clue when another student dropped out, and in her senior year, earned her role as a lead, and more importantly, a leader in our production of Almost Maine. I never had to worry that Emmy would be at a rehearsal, never had to worry that she would know her lines, never had to worry that she wouldn't speak up if something wasn't right. I could talk all evening about how deserving Emmy is to be here and how proud I am of her, but unfortunately, someone, Mr. Bosco, decided that I only get 90 seconds, so I'll finish up. Here's my final statement. Emmy is one of the most dedicated and hardworking students I've had the pleasure to teach and direct. No matter what happens in the future, no matter how challenging the work or how many times some director makes her fall down on a stage as a plot device for a high school play, I have no doubt that this athlete, scholar, and all-around talented human will persevere. Emmy, you are going on to bigger and better things, but wow, are you leaving some big shoes to fill. I wish you the best of luck as you embark on this next great adventure and leave you with the following life advice from John Cariani, playwright of Almost Maine. Go after what you want, even if it's scary. Tell the people that you love them, even if they've heard it a million times before. And don't ever, ever, ever let any man tell you that you smell funny. So cheers to you, class of 2024. Cheers to parents and educators. And cheers to you. Thank you.
Our next honoree is Joseph Reynolds. Joseph is recognizing his band director, Mrs. Ashley Fraley. Joseph has participated in the band program since 5th grade. He is a 5-year member of the marching band and was elected band president this year. He is a member of Senior Class Council, a 3-year participant with College Credit Plus program, and a 2-year member of National Honor Society, where he holds the office of historian. This year, he was the student director of our play production, Almost Maine. Joseph has earned the title of National Merit Commended Scholar for his academic achievements. After graduation, Joseph will be continuing his education at the University of Akron, where he will major in computer science and minor in business. Again, Joseph is recognizing his band director, Mrs. Ashley Fraley.
Throughout my academic career, there have been a few educators whom I could specifically call a personal mentor of mine. One of these few is Mrs. Ashley Fraley, otherwise known by her band kids as Fray Fray. Beginning in 4th grade, Mrs. Fraley was my piano instructor. During this time, she taught me everything that I know about music. She took me to a piano concert at Miller South and invited me to play at the lobby at the choir's Christmas concert. In return for her being my first musical mentor, I was an annoying little smart aleck to her. That part, however, continued for many years. As a band member, at the end of your 7th grade year, if you're a good player who shows respect and responsibility, you'll be asked to be a part of the marching band program during your 8th grade year. In my case, things were slightly different. Rather than being asked to be a member of the marching band, I received a stern talking to that, unfortunately, I was too immature. However, one person did stand up for me, and that person was Fray Fray. With her on my side, I did end up being invited, and while I'm sure I did not mature overnight, I was told that I ended up being a lot less of an immature smart aleck than I once was. Back in 2022, the school made cuts to our band program that included letting go of Mrs. Fraley. That did not prevent us from keeping in touch. On multiple occasions, I would take care of her dogs for her when she was away from home, and of course, we had a Snapchat streak going. Luckily, this past year, the district made the right choice and brought back one of the most caring and thoughtful educators to our district. But sadly, this did mean that our Snap streak had to come to an end. At the same time Mrs. Fraley was returning as our band director, the band members chose to elect me as band president. This news, along with the return of Frey Frey, meant that I got to end my time here at Springfield helping my closest teacher with the program that I love the most. Being the first band president with her as the band director was an honor, and I hope to have helped make her first year back as perfect as it could have been. I'd like to thank her for the almost decade of being not just a mentor of mine, but a good pal and mentor to all of her band and past choir students. And by the way, I still plan to be a smart aleck to you as often as I can. Thank you all for giving me the chance to show my appreciation to this amazing person, woman, and educator.
As he mentioned, we did start our relationship back when he was in 4th grade. And when he says he was a smart aleck, like you tell the kids, okay, get your wrists up, and he would go like this. So just to be a smart aleck, because that's who Joseph is. But in having known him for this long, it's just been wonderful to see him grow and mature and become the student that he is today. Right away, as a young piano student, I knew that he wasn't ordinary. He was very gifted. In addition to his giftedness, he was also incredibly sarcastic, ornery, hardworking, and dedicated. He was very strong in his math skills. He would often talk in piano lessons about Mrs. Landon and the work they were doing at Schropp as far as Math Olympiad. And knowing that he was a student who was good at math, it made it really easy to teach piano because he recognized the patterns so easily. And that translated beautifully into him becoming a percussionist because it's so rhythm and pattern oriented. So I think it's a good fit for him to be a percussionist, and I think it just was a perfect fit for him. I was not surprised at all when I heard he was going to be band president this year, and honestly, I don't know how I could have possibly gotten through this first school year having such big shoes of Mr. Coles to fill. I don't know how I would have done it without Joseph asking me every single day at the beginning of class and at the end of class if there's anything that he could do for me. The amount of work he's put in this year to help the band program is absolutely incredible. If you ever need a spreadsheet, he's your guy, and I am just so thankful for the time that I got to spend with Joseph and seeing him grow up and mature into the young man he is today.
Our next honoree is going to be Grace Ritterbeck. Grace is recognizing her calculus teacher, Dr. Jody Burgess. Grace is a 4-year letterman on the volleyball team where she has served as captain during her senior year. She has also played softball for 3 years and was in the marching band for 2 years. She has been a part of the College Credit Plus program for 3 years. Grace has been accepted and is planning to attend Mount Vernon Nazarene University, where she will major in education with a concentration in integrated mathematics. Again, Grace is recognizing her calculus teacher, Dr. Jody Burgess.
Dr. B is a teacher I have chosen because she's my inspiration to become a math teacher. I've always been good at math, and I've always liked talking about math. I've always felt obligated to teach my friends the lessons, but I realized as the years went on that I really did like explaining these lessons. It was last year when I decided that I wanted to be a math teacher. I'd love to teach advanced students like Doc B because that's how I learned, and I'm the strongest when teaching that way as well. Doc B has made the environment in her room homey while also having us continue to work on our assignments. She has shown me that I find joy in math and that I am passionate about the way it works. She's inspirational, comforting, and intelligent while also being strict in the way that will benefit her students. This year, I'm taking college courses in AP Calculus at the high school. Doc B has somehow managed to continue to encourage me to come to school even when I really didn't want to. When senioritis hit full force, I continued to come to class because of Doc B. She has watched me grow up. I've had Doc B as a teacher since I was in 7th grade. Over the years, she has realized that when I have an 8th period class that I have to come back for, it's really not good. It doesn't go well. She has been a huge part of my future career, even if she doesn't know it, sharing things and showing us that even in adversity, it'll be okay. She also proves that you can still have humor even when you really don't like the situations that you are in. When I do eventually become a teacher, I want to impact my students' lives just as she has mine. I want to be inspiring, motivating, and encouraging to my students as she has been to me. I'm greatly appreciative of everything that she has done for me, continues to do for me, and what I'm sure she will do for many other students. Thank you.
First thing I'm going to say is I'm really glad this comes at the end of the year so that kids don't know how kind-hearted I am. I don't like them to know this, but congratulations to all of us here. Good job, students and families and friends that came. They couldn't have done it without you, so I'm sure that they're very happy for your support. My fellow educators and coaches, good job, yay for us. And my administration, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to do what I love every single day. These days are the days that I think that I probably could do what I love every day and still not get paid for it. Don't tell anybody that I said that, but I would. Also, congratulations to the Ritterbecks. They are 3 for 3 so far with their kids in the top 25. They've got 2 to go. And one thing that's not in my speech, because I didn't know it, is Mama Ritterbeck was also in the top 25 here at Springfield in 1999. So they got it going on. I knew Grace I knew about Grace before I met her, hence the name Ritterbeck, because as I said, there was some before her, and it's no good to call a girl Larry, so they just had to become Ritterbeck. But when I finally got to meet Grace, what a pleasure it was, because do you see that smile she's got? She always has that smile. No matter what I'm teaching her, she's got that smile on her face. It is said that everyone has a given talent, or at least one talent, that the world can benefit from. Grace has several. She, in fact, has my favorite talent. She can bake. And she is often known to bring pie in for Pie Day, or sometimes she'll just bring some cookies. And she knows it doesn't matter what kind, because if it ends in the word cookie, I'm going to eat it. Cake or pie as well, that's why I run. But yes, on a serious note, she really found her other talent, which she's told you about and kind of ruined my whole speech, but her other talent, as a lot of these kids in here know, since the 7th grade, is teaching. She is a teacher. She's always been a teacher. Once I taught a lesson, I could always look up and there'd be kids around Grace's desk. Grace, how do you do this? I don't want to ask Doc B. Can you tell me how to do this? And she always would. And she's not just a teacher, she's a patient teacher. Just ask Michael Knox, he'll tell you. There's a Chinese proverb that says, if you are planning for a year, sow rice. If you're planning for a decade, plant trees. But if you're planning for a lifetime, educate people. And I cannot think of a better person to educate our future than Grace Ritterbeck. Thank you for being a great student and a wonderful human. I'm going to take this.
Our next honoree is going to be Angela Romano. Angela is recognizing Mrs. Holly Reed. Angela has participated with the College Credit Plus program for 2 years. She has been a member of the Romano and volunteers around Springfield and Lakemore. After graduation, Angela will be attending Walsh University. At this time, she is undecided on a major. She is considering English or psychology. Angela seeks to eventually earn a master's degree at Akron or Kent University. Angela is recognizing Mrs. Holly Reed.
It is no secret that I'm a quiet person. I don't find much enjoyment in chatting or school gatherings, but like many of my colleagues, the people I've grown up with, I have a lot of opinions, feelings, and ambition. This state of singularity lasted throughout school, making me feel a bit disconnected. Through this barrier of anxiety and uncertainty, I have always sought to make people proud and to make myself proud by being academically successful and competent. When it comes to finding the motivation to learn and believe in my future, I can thank a handful of teachers over the years. One of the most influential is undoubtedly Mrs. Holly Reed. When I was in 4th grade, I began dealing with a transitional period in life. New responsibilities, expectations, and social pressures were emerging. Part of what stabilized me was English class. English has always been at the core of learning, to write and read with fluency. I was not fond of either of these things until Mrs. Reed created a different learning environment. It was challenging, but welcoming, creating a balance that made an impression on me. I will never forget the Christmas tree that had ornaments with students' names on them, or having fun watching the movie Shiloh at the end of the school year. That is the year my vocabulary grew, and I found a new love for storytelling and writing. What makes me remember Mrs. Reed now, and for many years to come, is the comfort and conviction she instilled in me. Mrs. Reed helped me see how much knowledge I really had. She helped me see how observative and articulate I could be. When she highlighted a poem I wrote, I felt so proud, and I felt seen. Toward the end of my 6th grade year, Mrs. Reed found me and checked up on me. She expressed interest in how my life was going. When I didn't quite think I had anything to say, these small gestures by Mrs. Reed gave me a voice. It became a reminder from then on that I should always care and try, even when the effort is not so visible. I will always be grateful for the confidence I learned from Mrs. Reed and how it has brought me to where I am today. Thank you.
Well, gosh, I wasn't prepared to cry over that, but boy, thank you so much for your wonderful words, which I've always, that's the main thing I'm going to talk about is her and her words. It's been such an honor to have Angela in class and to have so many of these kids in class. It was so nice. I had some of these kids as 4th graders and some of them as 6th graders, so it's been such a great evening. I have just enjoyed so much hearing the stories about what you're like now, where you're going, and I kind of knew what you were like when you were in 4th and 6th grade, so it's been so nice to hear those things. Now, when Angela came into my class as a 4th grader, she was very quiet, you know? She was a quiet student. Great student, did everything that she needed to do, very quiet. Until she wrote this amazing poem. And that was when I realized she had plenty to say. And I was just so proud of her. Very humble, very quiet. I was also impressed with her effort because, as I recall, it was this really amazing assignment I had given, put your spelling words in sentences. You know, it was really, deep, high-level thinking. Luckily, I had thought to give them the option to, put it in a poem or write a story, and she took me up on that. And she wrote an amazing poem using her spelling words, which was quite the thing. So when I saw Angela's name on my letter, the first thing I thought of was that poem. And I thought to myself, she didn't mention that I hung it up when she was a 4th grader, and I hung it up when she was a 5th grader, and I even hung it up, when she was not there sometimes, because, the power of displaying student work, you get to see that, wow, what I did was pretty great, and it was pretty great. So I also like to collect things. I know I've been retired for 2 years. You might think that I wouldn't have anything like this, but I went downstairs into my Halloween decorations, and I found it. I have her poem that she wrote in 4th grade. What do you think? Is it okay if I read it? Now remember, she was, oh, come on, yeah, 9 or 10, 9 probably when she wrote this, and she used her spelling words in it, all right? So see if you can pick out the spelling words. I saw a pumpkin. It was shiny like lightning. I looked at it twice while frightened. It then reminded me of sparkling diamonds, perfectly prime. I slyly walked away, still thinking of that prime, perfect pumpkin, again and again, over and over, night after night. It still slyly sits there in the moonlight, waiting to be claimed. Well, as you can guess, I claimed that pumpkin, and I am so very proud of Alexis. I was thinking of Alexis and her mom, too. I saw that. I am so very proud of Angela. She did such great things, and she's such a kind person, and my advice to her is to always believe in herself. I'm so proud. Thank you so much for honoring me, and I think I'll go ahead and let her have it finally back. What do you think? Thank you, Angela.
Our next honoree is Destiny Ruggiero. Destiny is recognizing her basketball coach, Coach Lance Price. Destiny is a 4-year letterman on the varsity softball team, the girls basketball team, and the volleyball team. She is a 2-year member of the National Honor Society, where she currently serves as a secretary. Destiny is a College Credit Plus student. Destiny has been accepted at Cleveland State University, where she will major in exercise science. She will also continue her softball career at Cleveland State. Again, Destiny is recognizing Coach Lance Price.
I have only known Coach Price for a short time, but in my opinion, time has nothing to do with an influence you can have on a person. The first day I met Coach Price was at his interview to become the new head basketball coach here at Springfield. I could tell he was very nervous to be in front of a few players, but to me, that showed that he truly wanted this job. Coach Price is very funny, caring, and a supportive person. Coach Price is from Cloverleaf. He has a wife, 2 boys, and 2 boys that are around our age. When he mentioned that he had kids that played sports just like we did, I was a little nervous about how he was going to be able to pull off handling all these things at once. Coach Price ended up sacrificing a lot to be at games and practices with us, but not once did he let it show. Even though he was away from his family, he was right with his other one. His sacrifices did not go unnoticed. I feel confident, and I can speak for all of us girls basketball players, we really appreciate everything Coach Price did for us this season. When Coach Price came in at the start of the season, I had no idea what to expect. I feared that players wouldn't take him in right away. I feared that the season was going to be one of players only wanting to play for themselves. Our season was not even close to that. The season was all about being a team. The atmosphere that Coach Price brought/built as the season went on was unlike any other season that I've had my 4 years here. Everyone got along, and even if we weren't getting along, we never let it affect our chemistry on the court. This just made going to practice and my time with the team more enjoyable. Coach Price made the season fun, but he also had very high standards for us. Practice was always a challenge. He always made it very interesting. He did everything in his power to prepare us to be able to win every game this season. He brought in other people who weren't on the team to practice with us, and even joined in himself to throw different situations at us so we were prepared. He always made everything we did a competition, which helped us improve our grit to do whatever it takes to win. Now, Coach Price did more than just impacting me as an athlete, he also impacted me as a person. As the season went on, Coach Price and I got closer. Now, most days, we definitely got on each other's nerves, but we definitely built a good connection. He taught me a lot on how to be a better human being. He has been, and I truly believe he will always be there for me whenever I need him, no matter the situation. He has supported me throughout all of my sports, academics, and as well as my personal life. I am truly grateful for everything Coach Price has taught and done for me in such a short amount of time. I wish I could have been one of his players for more than just 1 year, but I am definitely grateful that our paths crossed. Thank you, Coach Price.
All right, here goes nothing. Coming from the outside, like Destiny said, I have no idea about this. And stepping up here, I'm honored. But after seeing the 22 people in front of us, I am truly, truly blessed and honored to be standing up here. But I will tell you, seeing the 22 others in front of us, I have to question your decision-making. You chose a knucklehead that knows a little bit about basketball to be your mentor. But I am truly grateful. Thank you, Destiny. Like many of us that have been up here, I really feel like we learn more from the people who nominated us, which is why these students are in the top 25. They teach, they lead, and they set the examples without ever knowing. When I first met Destiny 10 months ago, she sat peppering me with interview questions. As I left that room, stressed, anxious, and exhausted, kind of like now, I knew if given the opportunity to coach here, I had a leader, a recruiter, and someone that would set the tone for others on the team. Starting day one, Destiny's work ethic, leadership, and commitment to excellence shine through. Her dedication and unwavering determination have not only led to her personal triumphs, but also exemplified the very essence of my coaching philosophy. In closing, I would like to congratulate and wish nothing but the best to Destiny. I have no doubts she will succeed in her future endeavors at Cleveland State. And Destiny, you will always have a friend, a fan, and a supporter in me. Thank you.
Delilah Supatmisai is our next honoree. Delilah is recognizing one of her English teachers, Miss Tammy Applegarth. Delilah has participated in the girls' soccer team and the girls' golf team throughout her high school career. She is a 2-year member of the class council and is a 2-year member of the National Honor Society. She currently serves as chaplain for the National Honor Society. She is a 2-year College Credit Plus student, and this year Delilah was appointed as a DAR Good Citizens Representative for Springfield High School. After graduation, Delilah plans to further her education at the University of Akron. Again, Delilah is recognizing Miss Tammy Applegarth.
Okay. While for many of you, your sophomore English class was probably just another box to check off of the list of graduation requirements, while mine left the greatest impression on my life that I could never have imagined. For as long as I can remember, I hated English. Like, okay, maybe not hated, but I just always felt that I excelled in other subjects, like math and science. But if you look at my transcript, that's not true anymore. I've expected every other class to be like every other English class, and I was so nervous of being in her class because I was scared. I was scared of her. She's so stern. But then I finally grew a couple inches, and I knew that I could take her because, I mean, she's... But it was never like that with Mrs. Applegarth. I was so scared of being able to write because I'd always take my educator's opinions over my own. And I just never felt judged. I never felt critiqued. I always knew that I could go to her and receive the proper feedback without it sparing my feelings. And I guess I could say thanks to Mrs. Applegarth for I'll always know my rhetorical devices and how to properly structure an essay. But I really just want to thank her for teaching me how to use my own voice in my writing and to not be so scared to make things a bit personal and to be able to incorporate experiences into my own writing pieces just so I can make them my own. So I just want to thank you for allowing me to find my passion for writing and literature, and thank you so much for setting me up for success, for I will always carry your impact on me for the rest of my life.
Delilah was afraid that I would have to use her as my step stool. But I tell her I'm a realist and we can't go down that fantasy world. So I think I'm okay now. I think I'm okay. So I've been living my 10th grade year again. I think this is the most time I've spent with Delilah outside of class. We've done the girly thing. We've gone to the bathroom together and such. And yeah, right? Just like that. And then on top of it, she's nervous. I teach giving speeches. And she said, I wish I could go first. All right, that's what I taught her. Get it out of the way. But she's not that fortunate. She said maybe next time we could go by the teacher's last name, right? And she could have got her wish. And that I'm watching her. Can you show them your speech for a second? Selective highlighting. Here it goes. Those of you who had me. She's working all these lessons, so I appreciate that. Earlier this year, I wrote a letter of recommendation for Delilah, so I really just kind of want to share that with you. I do have readers too, but I'm going to try without. I also want to say ditto what Doc Burgess said, except the pay part. Except the pay part, okay? All right, I'm trying to stay in the 90. Here we go. Memorable. Delilah Sapopmasai. How does one best describe a student who possesses those positive attributes that administrators, teachers, and classmates hold dear? Hardworking, helpful, an anchor in a storm. Delilah Sapopmasai. How does one best describe a young woman who possesses those positive attributes of one more than twice her age? Mature, cultivated, a blossoming flower. Delilah Sapopmasai. How does one best describe a member of our society who possesses those positive attributes that are both desirable and respected, involved, open, an eagle's feather? Delilah Sapopmasai. A student I had the privilege of having in my English 10 class, and one whom I admire and cherish for numerous reasons. Her intelligence, her engagement, her desire to learn and grow. Her warmth, her optimism, her acceptance of others. Her creativity, her confidence, her humble and quiet leadership. Yet the reason that most reverberates within my mind, and one that sticks with me to this day, is based upon a discussion I had with Delilah in class. We were discussing her 272-word speech, a persuasive speech based upon the Gettysburg Address, and one focused on a topic of importance to the student. Delilah chose prejudice and discrimination against women as her topic. When our conversation turned to whether or not Delilah had ever experienced prejudice or discrimination, Delilah shared with me how she was blatantly discriminated against by some males based solely upon her ethnic background. In that moment of sharing such a terrible act directed toward her, I was not only touched by Delilah's willingness to share her experience, but also the grace and dignity with which she handled the situation. And it was also this moment that confirmed to me Delilah's strength, her resilience, her empathy, her honor, attributes that are sure to draw the attention and respect of those she encounters in life. Delilah Sapopmasai, an amazing and inspirational and captivating student, young lady, and member of society, deserving of and destined for a life filled with fortune, success, and happiness. Delilah, may your continued journey through life be memorable and imprinting just as you are. We can't wait to see the highlights. You go, girl. Thank you so much.
Our final honoree tonight, Abigail Torde. Abby is recognizing Mrs. Andrea Novicki. Abby is currently in marching band, is taking college classes through the College Credit Plus program. They have been in percussions on the bass drum for the past 4 years. This year, Abby acted in the school play, Almost Maine. While in school, they enjoy creating projects, art, and are looking always for ways to improve creativity. Once Abby graduates, they plan to go to college for an undergraduate degree in middle education, specializing in science and math at the University of Akron. Abby plans to continue their education to secure a master's degree in library science at Kent State. Again, Abby is recognizing Mrs. Andrea Novicki.
My first memory of Miss Novicki encapsulates who she is as a teacher. It was my first day in photography. I had previously taken photography, so I expected it to be a very dull class. Instead, I listened as a senior chatted about how he was convinced Miss Novicki had done almost everything and anything one could do. At the time, this was simply a funny conversation over here. But now, I'm starting to believe that he was right. Miss Novicki teaches that you should take every opportunity in life, and she teaches by example. I could recount every story she has told about being in pageants or going to NASA programs, but that would take all night. So instead, I will talk about how Miss Novicki has changed my life. Early on, I learned I was wrong for thinking her class would be easy. Her classes were challenging in a way I was not used to. Instead of teaching every single step and direction you have to do, Miss Novicki encourages creativity. If there is something I want to learn or create, she helps me through the skills needed. Because of this, I've made some of my proudest pieces of work in her class. Every day, I find myself pushed from my comfort zone, and for once, I enjoy it. My work is not the only way I've been pushed out of my comfort zone. For many who know me at school, they can attest that I'm more of the quiet type. It takes a lot for me to become a chatterbox. Well, a chatterbox is exactly what I am in her class. I've made some of my closest friends in her class and had some of the funniest conversations. I believe this is because of the atmosphere she cultivates. Every day, she makes an effort to say hello to everyone, even if we don't always respond. Miss Novicki is very approachable. I believe that rubs off on her students, at least it has for me. Looking back, I can't remember the exact moment she became my favorite teacher, but I know she is. I'm thankful for all the life skills she's taught me. I hope one day I can also be the person you are convinced has done everything possible.
I had a plan, and I just really don't know what to say to that. I'm going to speak from my heart. I think it's hard being a teacher now more than ever. And you wake up every day and you hope you are doing the right thing for the kids. And you are giving them the skills they need to believe in themselves and be successful. And a lot of times you don't know that. And I think tonight you have taught me, because I get so caught up in trying to give you guys every opportunity that sometimes I just need to stop and just enjoy you. And so I thank you for that. Abigail has just been a joy. One of the things I do want to share is an accomplishment that she has made. One of the challenges that we did, one day I was like, we're going to do NASA stuff. And so there was a STEM sticker design challenge put on by the Ohio STEM Learning Network. And I was like, we're going to enter. And I took a look at her sticker and I was like, she's going to win. And I found out she was a finalist, top 4 in the state. And then I was like, I know she's going to win. And we're waiting. And I was like, I know she's going to win. They sent our award to the wrong Springfield High School. And that was the whole thing, right? I was getting ready to take a bus with the whole class down to get her award. But I am just so proud of the creativity that she shows, and the passion that she approaches everything with. And in class, she's always the one who is, because I'll give them assignments and nobody really knows what they're doing. I don't know what I'm doing half the time. We're going to make puppets, and that's what we're doing. She is right there teaching and helping her peers, and I am just so appreciative of that. And as she said, sometimes they don't always engage in conversations with me, and my joke is when they don't, I was looking forward to this conversation. I've been looking forward to this for 24 hours, waiting to talk to you guys. But truly, I have enjoyed our conversations. And I look forward to having many more, because I cannot wait to hear the amazing things that you are going to do. So thank you.
I may have lost my notes, but I'm sure that we can wrap this up without those. Thank you all for being a part of this evening. I know that it's getting late, but we just need to take care of one more piece of business. If we could have the teachers and the students who were honored this evening come up to the stage, we're going to take some photos, and then we'll release you for the evening. Thank you so much for coming, and congratulations again.
I can't do much more than that, so behind you sit.
students to sit on the ledge, and we'll stand behind you. Can you do that? Can we do that? Can we handle that? Adults, everybody kind of angle in. Oh, take the center point angle. Maybe a little sideways, guys. Teachers, maybe Mr. Boswell, you're looking at Mr. Boswell, please. Yeah, it looks like everybody's smiling. They're laughing. Wow, that's a blur. You're Nancy. Whoa. Okay. We'll let you go. Teachers, don't go anywhere. We're going to do this. If you don't want to jump down, you can come back. All right, I think we can be just 25 in a row. What are we doing? Just get a picture.
Hey, wait, my recommendation letter.
Yeah, seriously.
I can't wait.
I read. We need to spread a little more. We don't have everybody in. Okay, we're angling. All right, we're angling. Thank you, guys.
All right, let's jump off the stage. Who can jump off?
You can wait. I think you're a perfect person to do that. Jump off the stage.